I don't like making folks wait, so the short answer is go buy Starsector. Now, of course, the question being, why is it worth your money? Now, I want to go ahead and preface and say this review will cover mostly vanilla content, but I will mention modding as well as use footage from modded gameplay. Players of Subspace Continuum and Space Pirates and Zombies will feel right at home with this game. Essentially, you fly around space and fire your lasers and other assorted armaments until everyone who hates you is dead, while using a combination of maneuvering and timely shield use to keep you from getting exploded yourself. You can hunt bounties and capture their ships, trade exotic goods and faraway systems, and at the moment, that's about it. Future updates promise some kind of industry, which I can only assume means building your own space McDonald's and selling space burgers. Needless to say, I'm very excited. Mechanically, combat is pretty simple. Using your weapons and shields generate flux. You can customize how much flux you generate by adding and removing weapons and other assorted modules. You're limited, of course, by your ordnance points, as they're called, so you have to have a limited selection based on your pool of points. In typical battles, you have to balance your weapon and shield usage. If you don't, you may have a flux overload, which basically shuts down your ship and renders it immobile. I imagine it's like your ship having a stroke from the unvented flux flooding into the reactor and killing at least a few guys in the reactor room. This balancing act keeps every engagement feeling fresh, and ensures even smaller ships can pack a mean punch against your massive dreadnoughts, at least if you let them outflank you. If there is any fault with the gameplay, as it is, I'd have to say it's with the repetitiveness of multiple encounters. Still, the whole pull of this game is gratuitous space battles, so if you don't like flying around in space, shooting at other things flying around in space, you're probably not watching this video anymore. Next, we'll talk about the graphics. Not that there's all that much to say. Make no mistake, this is definitely not Elite Dangerous. The graphics don't do much, but what they do, they do well. While not recording, I can maintain a steady 60 frames per second, and with some select mods you can get some rather interesting effects from both weapons and explosions. Ships have recognizable silhouettes, so you can clearly pick them out of a crowd. Weapon designs are varied, as are their effects when fired, giving you flamboyant bursts of light, waves of lead, and penetrating beams that punctuate each weapon's visual nuance. This varied array of death makes them fairly easy to identify, so you can better tell what you're getting shot with, especially that lightning gun. Overall, the art style captures ships in space and pulls me into the universe, which is about as much as I can ask for given the top-down arcade-like perspective. Next up, let's talk about sound. Not much to say here. Then again, I'm not much of an audiophile myself, so you'll have to forgive me if I don't go into explicit detail regarding the audio. All of the guns have a distinctive pew-pew that allows you to hear what's coming, even if you can't see it. The vanilla music is atmospheric and fits the space setting fairly well. I guess what I'm trying to say is this soundtrack definitely isn't the highlight of the game, but for exploring space and shooting stuff in space, it's more than serviceable. And that about covers everything that I really wanted to hit on. The next piece here we'll talk about specifically a few things that were on my mind but I didn't feel deserved their own little subsection. The game is not fully completed yet, so there's still a few holes, so to speak, left to fill in before you can really call it a complete game. But I would say that as of right now it is definitely playable, but like I said, there's definitely some room for improvement. I'm not terribly fond of missiles, at least in their current form. I feel like they either need to have unlimited ammo like your regular weapons and have some kind of flux-based economy to that regard, or have some kind of bigger ammo pool. Speaking of disposable things that fly around, small fighters feel very fragile to me. And I understand that's kind of how they're supposed to behave, but I feel like the casualty rate for guys and fighters in this game is just way too high. Like, I would not want to be a fighter in this universe, because you just immediately get blasted. And keeping this gravy train rolling, I guess the next point I'll hit on is the skill tree. Essentially, in my mind, it functions as a proof of concept. So yes, this is how our skills work. You level up, you put your attribute points into skills and so forth. It's, like I said, a very good demo of what they can do, but there's definitely more skills I think that can be implemented and should be implemented. Some mods are working on that as of right now, I believe. The one that I have, Starsector Plus, has a few extra mods for the commander skill tree, which is nice, but it's like I said, there's room for improvement. And the last point on my little docket here, I guess this is probably the least of my gripes, would have to be the current system for managing your ships both outside and inside of hyperspace. Basically, there's a running tally of supplies you have to kind of keep in check and make sure that everybody has supplies, or else your ships will just start breaking down. If you're in hyperspace, you also have to have some kind of special fuel to keep you in hyperspace, so that's another little thing that ticks down while you're out in space. The rates currently for both of those materials kind of deplete a bit faster than I would like, and it's just a simple matter of just changing the values to lower the amount of supplies each kind of vehicle consumes. So in my mind, this doesn't seem like it'd be that much of a deal to change. It's just a matter of balance and how you want to balance your supply usage versus the difficulty in the game. Like right now, I see it as more of a chore as opposed to something fun and challenging to kind of work around. But that's just me. Here are some reasons to avoid the game. If you don't like games about space, you're probably not going to like Starsector. If you don't like gratuitous, drawn-out space battles, again, you're probably not going to like Starsector. If you don't like micromanaging your resources and little bits and bobs that you place on your ship, Starsector probably is not the game for you. That's about all I got for you. You can check out the game at fractalsoftworks.com. You can buy it right now in its early access for $15 dues. I think once it's fully released, it's going to be like 20 or 30 bucks. So if you want to get it on the cheap, now is the time to go ahead and do that. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if there's any mod you'd like me to showcase, and I'll see if I can get it to work, if I feel like it. That's about all the video there is. You can go ahead and stop watching now. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down here in just a second. Seriously, there's nothing left. The show is over. Did you know that nebula is Latin for cloud? I didn't. Now I do. So do you.